you guys, it's Cece. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're playing some Raid Shadow Legends and I want to go over some of the best revivers in the game. If you are a new player to Raid Shadow Legends, I can actually start your account off with a free legendary, and although she's not a reviver, she does have some really good skills that will help you out. So as a new player, all you need to do is download Raid Shadow Legends using my link down below or scanning the QR code on the screen. And then on day 1, Elenaril will be in your inbox. And at level 25, I will also send you a Uugo. And don't forget, as a new player, you can also enter a new player code. You'll have 72 hours to do this. I do suggest using the code Monkey King so you can get Sun Wukong, who is actually a reviver for himself. So he does have a self-revive on his skills. So again, that's another free legendary that you can get. Just be sure that you're entering that code. Included in this list are a number of revivers. Now, I didn't include the ones that have prerequisites in their revives. Like, for example, something needs to happen for that revive to work. For example, like Uugo. So Uugo does have a revive, but technically she needs to be the last one alive on the battlefield and everybody else needs to die first for her to be able to actually revive them. So none of those champions are included in this list. However, I do want to note that they are still really good. Starting off this list is going to be Duchess. She is a legendary support and she has a fantastic revive for a number of reasons. And honestly, overall, she is just a really great champ. So with her revive specifically, it does revive all dead allies with 70% HP. So it is an AoE revive, which is phenomenal. But it also places a veil buff on all allies except this champ for a turn, and places a 15% continuous heal buff on all allies for 2 turns. So not only does she have the revive, but she provides that continuous heal on them as well. And you can also get this down to a 4-turn cooldown, which is huge. Her other skills are also really good. I want to focus in on the revive specifically. However, we do have to factor in her passive, which is going to decrease damage taken by all allies from AoE attacks by 25%. Less for bosses. Her second skill, placing the block debuff buff on a 50% increase attack buff on all allies for 2 turns. Placing a perfect veil buff on all allies except for this champ for 2 turns. And her first skill, attacking an enemy 2 times and placing a shield buff equal to 10% of the champion's max HP for 2 turns on this champion and the ally with the lowest HP. So, like I said, her revive skill is actually phenomenal, but also her other skills are very good for being supportive skills. She does also have an aura, which increases ally speed in all battles by 19%. So if you are lucky enough to get this champion, I do consider her to be a very good revive. Next is Raglan. This is a reviver who I would love to be able to summon and pull. If you actually have her, comment down below and let me know. But this one, I would argue, may be one of the best single target revives, and that is because her revive skill revives an ally with 75% HP and a full turn meter. But this can actually be brought down to a 2-turn cooldown. That alone is going to let you understand why she is a great revive and why she is on this list. She also has some useful other skills, including removing debuffs on all allies, healing them, and having a skill where she is going to attack 3 times and fill the turn meter of 3 random allies by 15%. So the fact that she has these other supportive skills really do go hand in hand with her, but it is really that revive that makes her so good. Next up is going to be Arbiter. This is a champ who does have a good revive, but it's made good because of another skill she's got. So let's go over those and I'll kind of explain what I mean. So her revive skill does revive all dead allies to 30% HP and filling their turn meter of all of them by 20%. The second part of the skill is where it kind of comes into play because she does get granted an extra turn if an ally was successfully revived. So essentially, you're using the skill, you're reviving someone, and then it brings us into skill 3. And for this one, it does place a 50% increased attack buff on all allies for 2 turns, fills the turn meter of all allies by 30%, heals all allies by 25% of their max HP if they have less than 50%. Keep in mind, this is brought down to a 3-turn cooldown. And since you're reviving, as long as they have less than 50%, we're going to go back to this revive skill I was talking about. So for this one, it revives them with 30% HP. So that is perfect for using the skill 3. If you revive them 30% HP, you're going in with your skill 3 right away. So the revive skill itself is a 5-turn cooldown, and then the skill 3 being a 3-turn cooldown. So these skills do go hand in hand together, and they do make her a great reviver. Next on this list, we actually do have an epic. So we are talking about Ursula the Mourner. So Ursula is very good for her revive because it does revive all dead allies by 75% HP, fills their turn meter by 50%, also places a 60% increased defense buff and a 25% strengthen buff on all allies for 3 turns. Keep in mind, we're going to bring this down to a 5-turn cooldown, But the fact that she's going to revive them, they're going to have HP, they're going to fill their turn meter, they're going to get the defense buff and the strengthen buff. And keep in mind, strengthen means they're going to be taking in less damage. So that alone is a great supportive skill for her. Her other skills, it's nice because she does have an AoE where she is going to be able to decrease the attack as well as increase the attack buff on all allies. So decrease attack debuff on enemies and then increase attack for the allies themselves. And then having a first skill where she is going to have a chance of decreasing the target's turn meter. So all those are really good supportive skills, but it is nice that it's not only a revive she provides, but she's also going to be able to buff. We do have another epic on this list, and that is going to be Cardinal. Of course, I had to include Cardinal in here, and if you're not aware of this champion, looking at a revive can be brought down to a 5-turn cooldown. However, it revives all dead allies, heals them by 25% of their max HP, and boosts their turn meter to max. That alone right there shows you why her revive is really good and why she might be a lot of fun to actually utilize. So she does also have other skills where she is going to be able to heal a bit and placing an increased defense buff, as well as having the chance to place the poison debuff. However, having a revive skill that is an AoE and is also able to fill a turn meter does make her very good. Before I continue on with my list, I want to hear from you guys. Who is your favorite reviver in this game? Comment down below and we'll see if I've already mentioned them or if they're coming up. We're going to continue on with our epics and of course talking about Godseeker and Neri. This is a champ I have to talk about for a number of reasons. So skill 1, it does have a heal in there. Skill 2 is an AoE, but also has a heal in there, increasing the duration of buffs, decreasing debuffs, things like that. But skill 3, the revive, which revives a dead ally with 50% HP, as well as filling their turn meter by 50%. But the big part of the skill is that it resets the cooldown of all of their skills. And this can be brought down to a 4-turn cooldown. But the fact that you're able to reset the cooldown of all skills, you can really utilize who you actually want to use this on to be able to take advantage of whoever you're reviving skills. So a great thing to keep in mind. But she does also have a passive plus an active in terms of the 4th skill. The passive part increasing the amount of healing that champs are going to get. But the active part of the skill, where if an ally is about to die, she's able to preempt that hit and actually place a revive on death buff on them for a turn before that damage is taken. So yes, she does have a revive on death, but then her reviving skill itself is also really good. And let's finish this list off with another legendary, which is going to be Cece the Lost Bride. She is overall a well-rounded champ that has some phenomenal skills, including a very good passive, a very good revive as well. So her revive is a single target with 55% HP and a full turn meter. So having a full turn meter again is huge on a champ. It also places a 50% increased attack buff and a 30% increased crit rate buff on that ally for 2 turns. The nice thing with this is you can also bring this down to a 4-turn cooldown. So what we love about this skill is the fact that it is a revive, including the full turn meter plus the supportive things in there. And as I mentioned, she also has a very good passive, which does heal each ally by 10% of their max HP at the start of their turn, as well as having a 40% chance of removing things like freeze and fear debuffs from each ally. Her other skills are also good because she is going to be able to place a block debuff buff on all allies for 2 turns, fill their turn meters by 10%, and place a 60% increased defense buff and 30% increased speed buff on all allies for 2 turns. So again, looking at how supportive her skills will be is huge. Her first skill also is able to heal allies a little bit. So something to keep in mind is all of her skills that she's going to be able to heal, she's going to be able to support and buff, but also having the revive in there with the full turn meter. I had to include her with this list. Those were some of the champions that I like in the game that have a very good revive. So I want you guys to comment down below and let me know who is your go-to reviver in the game. Be sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on future videos, including future top lists that I'll be making. I'll see you guys next time. Bye! Next level.